Hi, this is Module 5, Lesson 12. We are going to begin. Read the objective with me as I read it out loud. I can measure to find the area of rectangles with fractional side lengths. Now, before we get going, if you have a ruler at home, go run and go get it really quick. So I'll give you a minute to go run and go get your ruler if you have one. If you don't, I have mine and I'm going to use it as we work through the problems. You might need it for the homework, so you can always make a ruler with a piece of paper as well. You can just fold it, and your paper is only going to go to 11 though. So if you think about that, if you're going to fold a piece of paper, the longest it's going to go is to 11, which is fine because you're never really going to go past these numbers here. So you'll just have to section it off and make it as close as you can. All right. So hopefully you're back with your ruler. If you don't have one, that's fine. I have mine. We are going to start with a little fluency. You're going to multiply mixed numbers. Now remember, a mixed number, when you're multiplying it, has to be turned into what before you can multiply? That's right, a mixed number. So you have to change this to a mixed number before you multiply. Then you're going to most likely end up with an improper fraction. So you're going to have to do a little division, because remember, a fraction is really a division problem, to end up again with a mixed number. So I'm going to give you a minute. I'm going to give you 4 minutes, and then we'll come back and do it together. Go ahead and, okay, so now let's check our work. So this becomes 6 times 2 times 3. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7 thirds, which is equal to 6 times 7 is 42 thirds, which is equal to, you have to do the little division problem, which is, I'll do it off to the side here, 3 divided by 42, 1, it goes in 1 time, subtract, ends up being 14. It goes in perfectly. 4 times 2 is 12, and your answer is 14. Then we have to change this to an improper fraction before we can multiply. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 5 is 29 over 6 times, if you want to put 3 over 1, that works as well. Now, I know I can cross cancel here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that because it makes my life a little bit easier. So it's 29 over 2. Now we're going to do the division problem over here. 2 goes into 29. Bring down the 9. 2 goes into 9 4 times with 1 left over. 14 and a half is your mixed number. All right, moving on to the next one. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 is 16 over 3. If you want to put 6 over 1 to make it look like 2 fractions, that's fine. I'm going to cross cancel. 16 times 3, 18, 48. Then we have 5 times 7 is 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. 39 over 5 times 2 over 1 equals, I can't cross cancel anything, so I have to do the multiplication. 39 twice, well, that's less, it's 2 less than 80, so it's going to be 78. Or you can do the multiplication if you're not comfortable doing that. Do the division problem. 5 goes into 78. Hopefully you are checking your answers and they are perfect. 5 goes into 28. It's going to go 5 times for 25. You're going to end up with 3/5. So 15 and 3/5. All right. Now we're going to stop, and I'm going to give you a few minutes to do both find the volume, which remember, volume is length times width times height. And you need to measure the length, count the length, count the width, count the height, multiply them together. Remember, it's easier. You have to multiply two first and then multiply the third measurement. Go ahead and practice now. Now let's check our work. I counted 5 by 2 by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 2 by 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 10 times 4. Our volume is 40 units cubed. Then we have 7 times 3. But you know what? Let's just multiply it like that. 7 times 6 is 42 units cubed. Then we have, you could either do 12 times 2 or 6 times 4. 6 times 4 is 24 units cubed. Now, last problem is the application problem. You're applying what you learned yesterday to this problem here. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to have you work this out and then we'll come back and correct it together. So go ahead. Margot is designing a label. The dimensions of the label are 3.5 inches by 1 1/4 inches. What is the area of the label? Use the RDW process. Read, draw, write. So go ahead and try that on your own. See if you can find the area of that label. Make sure remember, there are two factors that you're multiplying together. So your answer is going to have squared in it, right? Okay, go ahead, go. Okay, so let's check your work. I used the method from yesterday. I created the box for tiling. I put my measurements 3 plus a half, 1 plus a fourth. I multiplied. I have 4 sections of my boxes, 4 sections in my box. That way, that means I have 4 multiplication problems I just did. Then I added them up. I realized that I couldn't add these fractions up unless I created a common denominator. I went with 8. Therefore, I have 3 plus 6/8 plus 4/8 plus 1/8, which equals 3 plus 11/8. And if I break that down to 3 plus, I pull out 8 over 8, that leaves 3 over 8 what's left. So it's 3 plus 1 plus 3/8. Add those together, you get 4 and 3/8. Okay, so hopefully you did that well and you got it. If you didn't, go back and watch the video again, stop it and rewatch, see what I did. So now we're going to move on to the problem set. So go ahead, put this off to the side. Make sure you're keeping everything in your binder the way you're supposed to. All right, so let's go ahead and read the directions. Number 1, the directions say, read each rectangle. Measure each rectangle to the nearest 1/4 inch with your ruler. So if you look at my ruler, I've kind of marked the 1/4 inches with my pencil to make them stand out a little more. So here's one, like this is 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 1, right? We're going in fourths. So I have marked my fourths. Since I am measuring to 1/4, I kind of want them to stand out a little bit. So measure each triangle to the nearest 1/4 inch with your ruler and label the dimensions so that you have to label them. Use the area model to find each area. Here are the area models here. So let's measure across the top. Now, if we're measuring across the top, I'll move this right here so you can see it extra clear. All right, so here's 1, here's a 1/4, here's a 1/2, here's 3/4. So would this be closer to 2? Here's the 2. Or is this closer to 1 3/4? I'm going to go with 2 inches. Then let's measure it along the side. This is going to measure, I'm going to say this is 2, and this is really close to 1/4. So this would be 2 1/4 inches. That's the notation for inches. All right, so now I'm going to break up my box. I'm going to decompose it like we did yesterday. So I'm just going to say this is a whole 2. Then this over here has to be 2 1/4. So I'm going to break this guy. And if you want to use a ruler, your ruler, because you've got it out. Not a bad idea to make it perfect, or as perfect as you can. So this is 2, and here's your 1/4. All right, now we're going to find the area. We're going to use the box method and add up our multiplications just like we did yesterday. So 2 times 2 is 4 inches squared. Then we have 1/4. Did I measure that right? Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Then I'm going to multiply 1/4 times 2. So 1/4 times 2 is 1/2 inches squared. Now I'm going to add those up. So 2 plus 1/2 is 2 1/2 inches squared. All right. Oh, just kidding. I need to use my number in here. Oh, my gravy. 4. 4.5 inches squared, because that didn't even make sense. If you start to analyze that, this is 2 by 2. So it has to be at least 4 inches, and then you have that little extra, so it has to be a little bit more. So I'm glad I caught myself. I was looking at the wrong number. All right, let's measure the next rectangle. Let's measure, and it looks to me like it is 1 3/4 inches. I'm going to go with 1 3/4 inches by, sorry, I'm going to turn it this way, by 1 3/4 inches again. 1 3/4 inches again. So if you were just to estimate, which we should have done back here, we could just estimate it. 2 times 2 is 4, and there's going to be a little bit more. So the area has to be a little bit more than 4.5 inches. So now if we estimate our area here, this is almost 2 by almost 2. So it's going to be less than 4 because it's not quite 2 by 2. So if you want to use your ruler, you can. If you don't have one, you don't need to. So we have 4 multiplication. We have 4 boxes now inside. So we're going to have 4 different multiplications. Let's do it. 1 times 1. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 3/4 times 1 is 3/4. 1 times 3/4 is 3/4. And then 3/4 times 3/4 is 9/16. All right, so now we're going to add them up. I have to make sure I'm using my correct numbers. All right, so here's 1 plus 3/4 plus 3/4 plus 9/16. Now, in order to add up fractions, you have to have common denominators. So I'm going to turn this into 16. I'm going to multiply by 4. Here's 1 plus 12 over 16 plus 12 over 16 plus 9 over 16. Now, you can add the tops. So 12 plus 12 is 24 plus 9, not 4 plus 9 is 13, 33. So this is going to be 1 plus 33/16. And that is your 33/16. Now, 33/16 is an improper fraction. So we don't want to leave it that way. How many times will 16 go into 33? 16 is going to go at least twice. Well, twice. So 16 plus 16, 32. It's going to go twice for 32 and 1/16. So this becomes 1 plus 2 and 1/16, which becomes 3 and 1/16. That is your area, inches squared. All right. All right. Now, the rest of the problem set is technically there for you to do. And the backside, you're going to find the area of the rectangles with the following dimensions. Explain your thinking using the area model. So you're going to draw it out just like we did here. Label your sides. Draw your lines. However many lines you have inside is how many multiplication problems you're going to end up with. And you're going to have to add those up in order to get your area. Remember, your area is always going to be, this is going to be feet squared. This is going to be yards squared. This is going to be yards squared. Now, I'll go ahead and I'll do C and D with you really quick, but what I'm only going to do with you is I'm going to set it up, and then I'm going to expect you to go ahead and finish it. So I'm going to measure, and I'm going to get 2 and 3/4 because it's really close to the 3/4. So I have 2 plus 3/4. Then I have, this is really close to just a straight up 2. So we're going to call that 2 inches. This is 2 3/4 inches. This one here, I think I'm going to write down, I'm going to write at the bottom because we have all this work right here. This is going to be close to just a straight up 2. Now let's go 2 1/4. Let's go 2 1/4. 2 1/4 inches by, let's go straight up. All right, let's go 3 1/4. 3 1/4 inches. All right, so now, just like we've done before, if you want to use your ruler to make it straight, you can. Or as straight as you can. So right now I have just 2 boxes, right? So I'm going to multiply 2 times 2 and 2 times 3/4, add them up. This one, I'm going to have 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. All right. So 2¼ by 3¼ You're going to add them up. You're going to have 4 multiplications. You're going to add them up. When you get an improper fraction, turn it back into a mixed number. Let's measure these out so you have those. This is going to be this is just 3/4 of an inch by 2. And let's see if I should go a little bit bigger. Just 2, let's go 2½ Let's go 2½ inches. So this is just 3/4. This is going to be 2½ This one here, 3½. I think that's straight up 3. Let's go. Yeah, let's go 3½ inches by 1/2 inch. So this right here, there's just going to be 1. So this will represent 3 plus that half. Okay, so in order to find the area, you're going to find in the area of the 2 boxes, add the area up to get the total area, right? Down here, 1 by 1½ 1½ by 1½ 2½ by 1 3/16 of a yard. So after you complete that, you should be able to do this on your own at this point. There's no exit ticket. You're just going straight. Oh, it looks like problem 1 and 2 got left off of this. Oh, nope, it's backwards. 1 and 2 is on the back. Oh, you know what? I'll go ahead and measure those out for you so you have that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and measure these out. So 1 3/4 of an inch by 3 1/4 of an inch. This is 2. It's bigger than 2, so we're going to round up to 2¼ inch. This is 3/4 of an inch. This one is bigger than 2, so we're going to go to 2¼ by 2¼ So it's a true square. Then this one here. So this is 1½ by 2, and let's round up to 3/4. 2 3/4. Finally here, this is 1 3/4 by 1/2. And these are all inches. So you want to make sure you're going to have inches squared. On the back side, you shouldn't need a ruler. Oh, here's your exit ticket. So I'll measure this out. 2, it's bigger than 2. So it's 2¼ inches by, and it's bigger than 1/4, so we're going to round up to 1/2, 1½ inches. Okay? So hopefully you are set up. If you missed any of this or something doesn't make sense, go back and rewatch the video. So here is page 1. Here is your problem set. backside of problem set, you're going to practice. You're practicing your multiplication and adding fractions. And to find the area, you're going to draw area models to explain how you found the area. I know some of you just want to use standard algorithm, but that's not the big idea here. We're going to get to that. Here is your exit ticket. I measured it out for you. Here is your homework. I already did half the work for you. I already measured for you. So it shouldn't be too hard. So remember, draw your lines, however many boxes you end up with, that's how many multiplication procedures you're going to perform. Then you add them up to find the total area. So what the big idea we're working on right now is multiplication and addition with fractions, okay? And to find the area of a rectangle. All right, good luck, and hopefully you understand.